wanted to, the first time I heard her speaking was at an event, and I think she just spoke for like 5 or so minutes, and then that was it. I was like, wait a minute,
who is that?
Who is this? Like, I'd love to hear more, because she had so much insights, like so many insights to share, and she had so much to share that I felt like, wow, every mother needs to be in this room somehow. And today, I mean, we have the privilege to just have her on radio and, you know, have all these mothers listen in and, you know, listen to what she has to share, which is a very beautiful thing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mama Muthoni in studio. Mama Muthoni is a pediatric nutritionist, and she's the founder of Mothership Village. There's a whole village called a Mothership Village, and she's going to tell us more about herself. I know I haven't even done any justice. Let's get over to you.
First, I'm so curious about which event this is. You'll tell me
I'll tell you about it later.
Yes. So my name is Wangeshi Wandereke Hara. I am a mom. I am a wife first. I am a wife. I am a daughter of God. I am a minister of the gospel. I run a ministry called Deborah's Arising. I run the Mothership Village, which is a maternal and pediatric care center. We take care of moms from pregnancy into the first 1,000 days of life. We thrive with the first 1,000 days of life, but we work with moms in the pediatric life, which is basically until 13, but we really thrive with the first 1,000 days of life and pregnancy. So we work with you when you're pregnant in terms of gynae care, midwifery care, and then in postpartum with lactation, midwifery care, night nurse services, anything and everything that mommy needs. You know that thing that you're told it takes a village to raise a child? We are your village when it comes to the professional care. And then majority of our services also are group services. So now the village also comes in, because then there's me, you, and 10 other women. So then you have the village factor. I'm a mom of 3. I have a teenager who's 15, a 9-year-old, and a 7-year-old. I love to cook. I love to entertain. I love the soft life. What else can I tell you about myself? I think that's it. And I love people.
Wow, that is such a beautiful introduction of yourself, and it just, you even speaking about it, affirming yourself and coming out strongly that you are the village. When you do motherhood village, it's you're coming from a space of knowledge, you're coming from a space of passion, and it's clear even in your introduction. And maybe you can tell us what pushed you from just being a mom to becoming a voice and safe space for other mothers through the Motherhood Village.
I think
sounds like a loaded answer.
That is actually the whole answer. I always say, for me, motherhood really slapped me. I always feel like I was not prepared enough to be a mom. We are always told how beautiful motherhood is when you're pregnant. Now, before you become a mom, our view of motherhood is always our mothers. And it always looks so nice. And then also, those days, social media was not even as bad, let me put it in quotes, as how bad in quotes social media is now, where there's so much social media, but it always looked so beautiful. Also, our mothers always looked like they had such an easy time taking care of us. Like motherhood always looked so effortless. Like when you look at your mother taking care of you, taking care of the home, you look at your aunties taking care of the home, it just looked effortless and seamless. Mtoto akilia pelekea mama yake, you know, and then the mother just holds the baby and the baby calms down. So it just looked effortless. And then when I became a mom, I'm like, where? Uko ni wapi? And I remember one night, me and my husband sitting in the middle of the night asking ourselves, what did we do to ourselves and what did we do to our lives? Like, our life was so much easier before we made this decision. And basically that was the beginning of the changing of Wangeshi to me becoming Mama Muthoni, the one who holds women's hand and not wanting them to go through the hardship that I went through. Because you don't have to go through the hardship. Yes, early motherhood is not easy, but you don't have to have it as hard as I had it. And you don't have to cry the tears by yourself, and you don't have to be in the floor by yourself. You can have somebody else supporting you through the hard nights. You can have somebody else telling you there's light at the end of the tunnel. You can have somebody else telling you, imagine it's not that hard, because when you're by yourself it feels like a pit, but imagine it's just a shallow hole. It's like a hole, but it's not as hard. So what made me go from being a mother to the other side? Number one, it's purpose. I was given my purpose. I talk as a Christian because that's all I am. I'm a Christian. I was given my purpose by God when I was young. I just discovered that just the other day. When I was 16 or 17, I always knew I would work with women or children. I just didn't know how. If you told me I would be doing breastfeeding, I would have laughed at you. So I always knew I'd work with women and children. I never imagined it would be in lactation. Now, when I became a mother and I started talking to women about breastfeeding and realizing that after I speak to them, they feel better. After I speak to them, they get out of that pit and now come to the hole, and they start to see, oh, it's not that bad. And they move out and they move now to this other side, and they start to thrive instead of survive postpartum. Then now my husband actually now became my destiny accelerator. Destiny accelerator. He started telling me, hey, you're spending too much time here telling women about breastfeeding, and who are you? Actually, that's the question he started telling me. Who is Mama Modoni? Mama Modoni is nobody, because you keep saying these women are being given the wrong information in hospital, but who are you to speak? You're nobody. You're just Mama Modoni. Can you go to school? And I kept saying, no, I don't want to go to school. I'm just helping them. But he kept pushing and pushing and pushing. Then I went to school. I did a course for almost a year, and then I went to another school. I did that one for 6 months for nutrition, and then I did my master's in clinical pediatric nutrition, and then that's how this came about. I opened my clinic, and I became a person who now I hold mothers' hands. I have a whole village helping women thrive in motherhood, and to ensure that nobody feels alone in the postpartum period, because yes, it's difficult, but it doesn't mean that you have to.
It can't be done, or you have to do it on your own.
You have to do it on your own, and it also doesn't mean that you have to survive it. You can thrive and have support. The biggest thing is actually having the support and the know-how, because a lot of moms get into it blind, imagining that it's supposed to be a certain way, and then you get there and then you ask yourself, "Uko ni wapi?" But it's just the lack of knowledge that what you imagined and what you get is two different things. So now you get disappointed, but it's actually just how it is. But if you knew better, it would have been a different experience.
And in your experience, what are some of the biggest struggles that women face in the community? What are some of the biggest struggles that you've seen amongst women?
Number one, it's that thing of expectations versus reality. You expect that it will be easy, the way you imagined your mother had it, but you forget that by the time you came into being and into remembering your mother, you were maybe 12 or 13. Her last born maybe was 7 or 8. So she has gotten out of the having a 2-year-old, having a 1-year-old. So now she's glowing. She's no longer in the chaos. I don't know if you moms, but there's the chaos that comes with having
I'm a mother
small,
of 3.
The small babies. So by the time your last born is around 4, you're glowing different. There's a difference. So by the time you're remembering your mother, she's not the same one who had the small babies. So the expectation you have of motherhood is the number one thing that sometimes works against us as moms. Number two, there's the thing of society that the way we bombard mothers with questions, and I don't know why we do that, yet we know what it does to us. Number three is also breastfeeding. There's the expectation we have of ourselves of what breastfeeding should look like versus what it actually is. And then we go through it, and then we know what we went through, and then I go through it, but I still come to you and place that pressure on you despite having gone through it, and I know what I went through. And breastfeeding really puts a lot of I call it mom self-esteem issues, because it's the thing that we feel we need to do because you're there to feed your baby. Basically, there's really nothing else you're supposed to do in postpartum, feed your baby. So when it doesn't go the way in your mind you imagine it should be, then you feel inadequate. But majority of times it is not linear. There are days it will go up, there are days it will go down, and oftentimes it is never the way you expect it. Babies go through a lot of cluster feeding. Babies don't sleep the way they are supposed to sleep. Babies don't, by the way, let me tell you, that thing of feed every 3 hours, it is a scam. Feed every 3 hours is the minimum number of times you're supposed to feed your babies. Majority of babies will feed every 1.5 hours. If your baby is feeding every 1.5 hours, that is normal and that is average. But most moms, when your baby does not feed every 3 hours, you start to think, I don't have enough milk. Then now you begin to spiral. You start telling your mind, I am not enough. We equate our breast milk with our enoughness as human beings and as mothers. Then now you start thinking, me as Wangeshi, I am not enough. Then now that starts becoming what you own. Then now I am owning my breast milk is not enough, and then I am owning what my stomach looks like is not enough, because the world told me I am not supposed to change. My body is supposed to look like what it looked like at 21. It does not look like that. And by the way, everything sags, including the things that your husband carry that I cannot mention on radio. Everything sags with age. So if your stomach is sagging after you have had babies, it is okay for it to sag after you have had babies. So stop owning that as I am not enough because my stomach looks different. I am not enough because my breasts look different. That is biology. That is what it's supposed to look like. But now moms start owning that and feeling bad about themselves. And then now comes the issues of nannies, and again what society is telling them nannies are supposed to look like and feel like. So again, you're changing nannies all the time because of what society is telling you to feel like versus what you know or you feel it's supposed to feel like. So it's just a whole melee of things and chaos, and nobody is holding your hand to support you through this with the right information for the time. And that is also now where the mothership village comes in, to hold your hand 360.
And in the mothership village, I'm sure you interact with women of mothers of different cultures, religions, even in terms of pocket sizes, let me call it that. And I want to know, how do these elements, meaning the pocket, the culture, maybe even religion, shape how mothers are disciplined and protect their children? Is there are those factors you've seen affect mothers in the motherhood village?
Most mothership village. So mostly the pocket size, or
pocket, is it culture, religion, those three?
Okay. So pocket size, I'm not sure really. So pocket size, I would say majority of our mothers are middle to upper class based on how we price our products. Religion might, that's a difficult question. So culture, religion,
and religion, culture, and
and how? Just repeat the question again.
Yes. How do these elements shape how mothers love, discipline, and protect their children?
Okay. So it's a bit of a difficult question because majority of the children that we interact with are 0 to 3. So we don't really deal with a lot of discipline.
Those are very young children. So there's no
very young children of discipline.
Maybe you can talk then to what, there are quote unquote forbidden conversations about motherhood. And maybe you can break some myths here and tell us maybe what forbidden conversations about motherhood you're tired of people sweeping under the rug. People avoid, for example, conversations about stretch marks. They will avoid conversations about the baby weight and these things and all that. Has that been factors that you've seen with the women in the village? In your village,
I would say yes. Stretch marks, number one. Guy, do you know babies have stretch marks?
Babies?
Yes. They have stretch marks and they have cellulite.
Babies?
Yes.
Okay.
I emancipated, is that the word? I emancipated myself from cellulite the day I saw my 6-month-old with cellulite.
Oh my God.
I was like, why are we being stressed out here by the beauty industry not to have cellulite if my 6-month-old has cellulite? And then why are women being told not to have stretch marks, yet men have stretch marks?
Right.
So why is it our burden to carry as women, yet men have stretch marks and they're not being told not to have stretch marks. So we carry babies, right?
Yes.
And then after we carry the babies, we are being sold for everywhere that our tiger stripes, let me call them tiger stripes, that now we need to deal with them. Why are we dealing with them? They are warrior marks.
They are.
Yeah. So it might be forbidden conversations, but I think it's conversations that women need to be having even with younger women, that they are beautiful. There are conversations we need to be having with our daughters and our nieces that, oh wow, look at this. It's so pretty. It's so beautiful. My stomach is sagging. It's so beautiful.
It's because I bought children.
I carried you in here. Look at what my stomach has done. This is what my body can do.
And with pride.
But if you're not feeling proud, your children, we're always being told your children will figure you out. So you could say it, but your inner self does not believe it. So eventually they'll figure you out because your inner narrative will not translate to whatever it is that you're saying. So even you inside you need to believe that this is actually beautiful. Whatever it is that you're carrying, your stretch marks, your tummy, the stretching, the cut that you got that now you have a, what is it called? A CS hang. Because even the small ladies who didn't have tummies, they end up having CS hangs because your muscle was cut. And that's very okay. Another thing also is how maybe sex will change after. Have we a lot talked about sex on radio? How sex changes after babies, and that's also okay. How lubrication changes during breastfeeding, that's also okay. Those are conversations that women need to also be able to have with themselves, with their spouses, and also with other women. That there's a time when my libido will change during breastfeeding, and that is also okay. There's a time my lubrication will change during breastfeeding. And that's also okay. There's a time, especially when during my childbearing years, when a lot of my mind is on breastfeeding and babies, and I'm tired and I'm touched out, and I might not feel like being touched by you. And it should be okay for me to have a conversation with my husband. But now, if now you're sitting with the vikao of wanawake and you're just telling each other, the thing should be, how are we having conversations with our husbands that I'm feeling touched out? How do we move forward with this issue that we are having?
Because it's just a season.
It's a season. So how do we move forward from this season?
You've spoken about early childhood development and the first 1,000 days. I'm really passionate about ECD, like early childhood development and those first 1,000 days. I'm just wondering, do you feel like we have enough information? Because it's a phenomenon that I think right now, at least, a lot of people are getting to understand that we never really used to understand back in the day, like the importance of the first 1,000 days. I wanted to talk about that. Like, what's the importance of the first 1,000 days of a child, or the 0 to 3 years after a child is born, and maybe before they join school? Could you talk about that?
I think there's a lot of information out there, but I don't think the information is getting to the parents yet. I think the information is still with the healthcare workers, but I don't think the information is being translated into the parents. Because when it comes to nutrition, I still feel that nutrition-wise, a lot of it is not being translated to the plates of the children. There's a lot of information when it comes to the effects of TV and the effects of gadgets, but I still don't feel like that is still being translated.
And especially in the urban areas, you see, like a lot of people live in concrete jungles. Like we are living in concrete jungles, really, in a concrete jungle, because there's no play area. And like back in the day when we'd have like the whole village there, how is the village playing out in an urban setup, so to speak, and in regards to early childhood development? So we try as much as possible to give information when it comes to nutrition, especially in terms of nutrition. What are you feeding your child? What does your child's plate look like at 6 months, at 9 months, at 12 months, at 3 years, at 5 years? Because your child's plate needs to be balanced. Your baby needs to go out for sun. Your baby cannot be watching TV at 6 months. Your baby cannot really be watching TV the whole day at 12 months, at 18 months. We try as much as possible to do this. But at the end of the day, the decision remains with the parents. And majority of parents do not make the right decision because they feel like it is my choice, and we have a lot of that. What do people say these days? Personal choice. There's a way they put it these days. So
a lot of information on early childhood development is there, but does it translate to what people are doing? No.
Yeah.
So many years from now, people are going to be saying, I wish I knew, but you knew, you had the information. The information is there, the research is there, but are you actually translating it to what you're doing? No. In fact, also in terms of even health, and even diseases like cancer and brain issues, so many things are there, but is it being translated to what parents are doing?
Yeah. Mama Muthoni, you brought a point on that. That's health. Let me call it health. And we're going to come back shortly to dive into that further. Guys, this is the Pink Perspective on SpiceFM. Stay tuned in. This conversation goes on in few minutes with Mama Muthoni KE. Thank you.